Hello YouTube and welcome again to Hang Gliding 101. Today we're going to talk about how to control a hang glider, focusing mainly on the steering, but we'll talk a little bit about the pitch as well, and how you actually steer and control a thing in the air. Now this video is aimed at people who are perhaps beginning or learning hang gliding and to supplement whatever they're doing about how it works. It's also aimed at anybody that's interested in learning the mechanics of how a hang glider is controlled in the air. But what it is not an instructional video to learn hang gliding. You will not learn hang gliding from watching videos, so don't think you can do this and have a fly, because you'll end up killing yourself. Okay, so how it actually works: a hang glider works on weight shift, and we hang in our harness from this strap here. And when I'm hanging, if I move my body weight to one side or to the other side, the hang glider will move that way. If I move my body weight forwards or backwards, then the hang glider will move that way. So basically, you move your body weight left to turn left, right to turn right. You pull the bar towards yourself to go faster and let it ease out to go slower. So that's the basic principle of it. There's a bit more detail than that which I'll go into. So what I'll do is I'm going to give a little bit of a demonstration on the ground, just talk through it, talk through the mechanics of it, and then we'll have a demonstration in the air. So let's just have a little look at that. So now I'm clipped in and I'm flying along on my hang glider, whoosh 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 whoosh. And if I want to turn the hang glider, then the theory says I move my body weight over to the left hand side to turn left, or over to the right hand side to turn right, like that. Now there's a few issues to think about when you're doing this, because a lot of people when they first start hang gliding will do this. They'll move their head to the side they want to move to, and they'll move the feet the other side. If you see my feet are stuck out the other side, in actual fact they've not moved the body weight, all they've done is twisted it. So the glider won't turn. So a key thing that you're taught when you learn is to lead with your hips and move your body in a straight line to the side that you want to turn to. So to the left, my left anyway, and to the right. It may be that you've seen some YouTube videos and you see some top hang glider pilots who have the camera pointing directly on them, and you will see them twist a little bit. And they'll do that primarily out of laziness or just out of conserving the strength, because you can allow for a little bit of twisting once you get that experience and it's turning as much as you want it. But generally speaking, what you want to be aimed to be doing is leading with your hips. Now that's basically the way that I was taught to hang glide, and you would hang glide when you first set out on a beginner glider. The beginner glider will turn nicely like that, but there are some other factors to consider. So the other one is your speed. So as I mentioned before, in order to go faster, I bring my body forwards, I pull the bar backwards. Now I'm going faster, going diving as well, but I'm going faster. And in order to go slower, I ease the bar out like so, and so that allows me to go slower. When you are starting a turn, if you're flying really slow, then you'll find it difficult to initiate that turn because you're flying slow, the glider's responding slowly or not at all. And the other thing, when you are actually turning, the stall speed of the glider increases. I'll just repeat that. The stall speed of the glider increases. What that means is you need to fly faster in a turn in order to stop it from stalling than you would if you were just flying in a straight line. So a better way of turning on any glider, and the definite way that you need to turn on a high performance glider, is by doing what we call by doing a coordinated turn. In order to do a coordinated turn, the first thing you do is you pull on a little bit of extra speed, so you've got that roll authority. You move your body to the side, and as you're moving your body to the side, you ease the bar out, and that enables the glider to pitch into the turn, and the glider will turn really quite nicely doing that. In order to come back out of it again, you pull on back of the speed and you bring your body back. So this is the way that a coordinated turn works, and in order to fly a high performance glider, you need to do those coordinated turns. So the coordination is between your pitch, forwards and backwards, and your roll side to side. So key thing, speed on, instigate the turn and allow the speed to come off by letting the bar come out a little bit as you are going around the turn. The more you do it, the more you get a feel for it and the easier it becomes. So that's actually a coordinated turn. Another thing to consider when you're actually going round, say in a 360 and you've got that turn and you're going round, generally speaking, all gliders will tend to bank in, and when they start turning they'll keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and steeper and steeper. It depends on the strength of the thermal that you're in, it depends on how fast you're flying. But when you feel that happening, what you do, say I'm turning left now, if I'm turning that way and I feel it going down, it's banking, it's winding into the turn, then I'll move my body weight to the opposite side of the turn. Now I'm not moving it enough to the opposite side of the turn to bring me out of the turn, but just enough to stop it winding in. And that's what we call high siding, because you're moving your body weight to the high side of the turn in order to keep that turn nice and level and not winding into the turn as you're doing it. High performance gliders do that more, and you're going to high side or need to high side more the slower that you're flying in a thermal. And of course when you're flying in a thermal you want to be flying fairly slowly to enable the thermal to lift you up more. You don't want to be flying at maximum speed because you're just negating the effect of that thermal. So that's the theory of how we actually instigate a turn. Coordinated turn, pull on speed, move your body to the side, and as you're doing that, allow the bar to come out. And that is a coordinated turn on a hang glider. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go and have a little go at it and show you in practice in the air what happens with these turns. Okay, here we go. Okay David, you can let go, thank you. Release. Thank you. I'm going to take off today, I promise. You may have noticed that the sound quality is a load of rubbish on this particular video, and that I'm not using the GoPro, and the reason behind that is this is another one of those flights where unfortunately I pressed the button for too long on the GoPro and it didn't record any sound, and the GoPro instead is recorded at double the speed. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a voice overlay of the video and talk you through the moves so that you can actually see what it is that I'm doing. So initially what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to gain some height in order to get up and be able to demonstrate to you in a little bit more of an exaggerated fashion the actual steering and the control of the glider. It is a little bit of a lively day on this day when I recorded this, so it's jiggling about quite a bit because there's a lot of thermal activity and it's quite rough in the air, which makes it a little bit more difficult to demonstrate, but we'll give it a go. So now that I've got high, we'll discuss how I can actually steer it. Currently the hang glider is going in a straight line. I'm going to turn it to the left. So the first thing that I do now is pull on some speed, as you can see there, pull the bar towards me, move my body weight over to the left, and the glider's turning to the left. Now you notice as I'm going round that I keep shifting my body weight to the opposite side, not to the left, which is the lower wing, but to the outside. And the reason that I'm doing that is just to counter when the wing starts to dig in and turn even steeper to the left. And I'm constantly shifting my body weight left and right in order to actually keep the glider in a level turn. And you can see that I've got the bar quite pushed out there. I've controlled the pitch, pushed it back out again during the turn. Now you see my body weight moving to the right hand side to bring it back out of the turn. So in order to come out of the turn, you move your body weight to the opposing side of the turn until the glider flies straight in level again. Just to demonstrate that again then, you see me let go of the bar here to demonstrate that the glider is at trim, just there. And then I pull some speed on and move my body weight this side to the right hand side of the glider, to my right, and ease out with the bar, and you see it responds nicely around the turn. You can see me shifting my body left and right as we're going around the turn, just to try and keep the glider along the path that I want it to go, and then gradually opposing the force to come out of the turn again. So at this point in my flight, my demonstration was interrupted by a rather nice thermal. So here you can see me turning to the left, with my body weight initially to the left to get the glider turning that way. But as I'm going round in this thermal, try and notice that I have actually let the bar out a little bit, and that quite often I'm putting my body weight to the outside of the turn, and I'm doing that in order to prevent the wing from digging in, from turning too tightly, and to keep it, or trying to keep it, on the same bank angle as I'm going round. You'll see that I'm not doing it perfectly, I'm a bit all over the place. Part of the reason for that is that I'm actually trying to exaggerate the movements so that I can demonstrate it to you. But hopefully you will see that this is what we call high siding, where I'm moving my body to the high side of the turn as I'm going round the turn. And that's a bit of thermaling. Now I'm going to demonstrate a common mistake that beginners make, and some experts actually, which is twisting your body. So you see here I move my head to one side and my feet to the other side, and actually the glider doesn't turn, or turns very little, perhaps even a little bit the wrong way there, because I moved the bulk of my weight to the opposing side, to the side I didn't want to turn on. So here you see I'll do it again, twist, and whilst I've got my head and my shoulders over to the turn where I want to turn, the glider isn't turning for me. The correct way to do it is to move my entire body weight, lead with my hips, to the side that I want to turn on. So pull on a little bit of speed, move my body weight over, it starts turning, and then move my body weight back to the centre, or even to the high side. So you see here I'm slightly high siding it as I'm going round. The amount that you need to high side when you're going round in a turn will depend on a number of factors. The more gentle the turn, like this one, the less you will need to high side it. But the factors such as the speed that you're flying at, the thermal that you're in, the glider that you're flying, the angle of bank that you've got, all these things affect how much you might need to high side it. But when you're actually doing it, you don't need to worry about any of this, because you fly by feel. You feel, is the glider winding one way or the other? And whichever way it's going, you move your body a little bit the other way. And depending on how far it's going, depends on how far you move your body. So it's all flown by feel. But just understand the fact that you might need to move your body to the high side as you're going round in a turn. So now we're going to talk a little bit about speed. And if I let go of the glider, it will fly at trim speed. So you'll see me here just let go. So the glider's flying at trim, which is its slow speed. And then when I try to turn the glider, when I'm going really slow like this, it's a lot more sluggish and much more difficult to turn. It is turning, but it's taking a lot more time, it's more difficult, and as you see I'm having to high side it as I go around. I actually was talking on this video as I'm doing this about how I can feel it digging in. It doesn't look quite as severe on the video as it felt, but it felt like I was having to do quite a bit of high siding to stop it. And what's actually happening is that inner wing, the left hand wing, or as you're looking at it, the one on the right, is actually stalling a little bit, and I'm having to high side it to try and counteract it. And here you see me do it again, flying quite slowly. That bar's pushed out quite a long way there, and the glider slowly responds, goes round the turn, and again I'm having to high side it quite a bit because I'm going slowly round the turn. So there we go, that's what it's like when you try to fly too slow into a turn. Now we'll show the opposite effect of what happens when you pull on some speed to initiate your turn. So you see here I'm pulling the bar backwards towards myself, I'm pulling on some extra speed here, quite a bit of speed, and I move my body to the side, not very far, but the glider responds very quickly and whizzes around the corner quite easily there. This manoeuvre had a lot less effort in it than the manoeuvre when I was trying to do it slowly. It's much easier, and the glider responds a lot quicker when you give it that speed. Remember, in hang gliding, speed is your friend. So here we go, we'll do it again. pull in some more speed again and go the opposite way, move my body to the side, and the glider responds quickly and sharply, and round we go. Much easier, much more coordinated movement around the circle. So that's how you do the speed. Pull it up. How you do a more responsive turn by having more speed. Here I'm flying at trim again. Pull on a little speed this time, and we're just going to do a nice, easy, slow turn this time. So we've got a bit of speed, not excessive, but not too slow either. So this is just a nice, gentle turn around on this particular one. So hopefully that explains how speed affects your control when you're actually going round when you're turning the hang glider. Just to talk about speed a little bit more then, to make the glider go faster, you pull your body weight forwards like I'm doing here, so pull the bar backwards, and that will make the glider go faster, giving you ultimately more control. In order to slow the glider down, you let the bar go back out. And if you actually let go of the bar, the glider should fly at trim like it is doing here. Now, in order to stall the glider, which means it's flying too slow to stay in the air, the glider will actually stall and dive until it picks up speed again. It takes a forcible push. You can see I'm pushing the bar out there, and it's just a little bit of a mushy stall. There's nothing dramatic about it. My glider stalls quite gently, really. To do a bigger stall, you need to push the bar a little bit more forcefully like this, and then you can see the nose come back down until it picks up enough speed to fly again. So that's stalling the glider. You don't want to do that close to the ground, but you might want to practice that when you're up in the air, so that you can get used to where the actual stall point is, what it feels like, and really importantly, what it sounds like. One final thing that I haven't talked about, and I forgot to show in the demonstration, is if you want to do an emergency kind of turn, where you really want to turn in a hurry because there's something, big thermal or something turning you towards the hill, or there's somebody flying towards you, or whatever, you want an emergency turn. In that case, you would move your head and your shoulders towards where you want to go and exaggerate your hips and your feet. So not only moving your head and shoulders, but exaggerate the hips and the feet, not just keeping your body in a straight line, but wanging them right out as far as you can wide. Get outside of that airframe as far as you can to that side, and just get everything to the side as far as you can in order to instigate that turn, but actually exaggerating your feet going right out the side of the glider. So that's what you would do in an emergency situation. I haven't actually demonstrated it anywhere because I forgot to do it on the day, but just something to think about and perhaps to practice. So now that we've talked about how to control the speed and the turning of the glider, I've got some exercises for you to try, and this is for those people perhaps who've less experience at hang gliding, or just wanting to improve, or anybody who wants to give it a go really, and just to keep that interesting. So the first thing I would say to try is to try and fly the glider as close to the stall as you can without actually stalling it. So get it flying, see how slow your glider can fly. See what it feels like when you're flying it at that speed, and importantly, what does it sound like? What does the wind sound like? And when you've done that, try turning it when it's really slow like that. Try turning the glider to one side and the other side, and just establish how easy or how difficult it is to turn when it's flying really slowly like that. One thing I must say, when you're doing all this, make sure you're in a safe space, make sure there aren't millions of other gliders around you, you're not close to the ground, there's nothing for you to crash into. Just make sure that you're able to do it safely. Next thing I would say is try flying the glider at a fast speed. See how it responds when you're flying fast, and see how it responds to a turn when you're flying fast. So pull a load of speed on and then try and turn the glider and see how that responds to you. And then try it at various different speeds in between, so you get an idea of the responsiveness of your glider at different speeds and how easy it is to turn at different speeds, and that will give you a much better feel for your particular glider. Another thing to try then is to try the twisting thing. This is the thing that you don't want to do, generally speaking, but give it a go just to see how it feels. So try moving your head and shoulders to one side of the airframe and your feet to the opposite side. Can you actually make the glider fly in a straight line by twisting, completely twisting your head and shoulders all the way one way and your legs and your hips the other way. And then you get an idea of what it feels like to do it wrong. But then when you've done that, try doing the other thing that I suggested, which is exaggerating a really fast turn. So imagine you're in that emergency situation, you want to turn the glider as quick as you possibly can, move your head and shoulders to one side, and at the same time thrust your hips and your feet right out to that same side and turn that glider as fast as you can. Then we've tried all that, let's try going for a coordinated turn. So pull on some speed, initiate your turn, and while you're turning, let the bar go out. And experiment with how far do you actually need to push the bar out or let the bar go out on your particular glider to keep that coordinated turn. What happens if you push it out really far? Does it turn really fast? Does it dig in? Does it stall on that inner wing? And do you need to high side it? And at what point do you need to high side it and how much bar? So practice those coordinated turns. Pull on speed, start the turn, push the bar out and experiment with how much you need to high side it depending on how far you've got that bar pushed out. So those are some ideas that will help you practice your turning and improve your turning. It's something that when you're actually thermaling, your coordinated turns and being able to keep a steady and level turn is a massive advantage to effective thermaling. So that's the end of Hang Gliding 101 for today. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you've got any questions or comments, then please post them down below. Thank you very much.